We will edit, we will do all those things. Yes. Now, so anyway, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Yes, I would love for you to introduce yourself, but before you do, I don't know if you remember an incident kitambo. You were singing ile song inakwaga ya something, she said, Mama, something, I'm not the type of person to look up to. You remember?
Yeah.
And then you're singing, pointing at me. Yeah, kitambo, ile hao ya madhe uko chini. So, hiyo kitu jaintoka kwa kichwa. Because when you're singing that and telling me, like pointing at me, your part here, I'm not the type of people to look up to.
She said,
yes.
Girl, I just wanted to have a better life than me.
Yes, yes. Okay, maybe I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm looking up to you. You're the person I want to become. Yo, back then, hadi now, like it's, for me, you've been the person, like, in it, when you're on a clear path. Yeah.
Peseta.
Yes, peseta. No, but peseta hapana. When you're on a clear path, like there is no road ahead, but this person goes clearing it. So for me, my introduction would be that.
Thank
for
you.
you. That is the person that you are for me.
Aww.
But the question is, who are you? How do you introduce yourself? Ama, how do you see yourself?
So my name is Sarah Y.A.N.G Homeboy. I'm a mom to one boy, turning 10 in October. I'm 36 years old, and I'm a project manager by profession. And yeah, that's me.
All right. That's an interesting way to do an introduction. I think we've also had this debate before, where we were talking about how we introduce ourselves by the things we do. You remember?
Yeah.
But introduction, this type of introduction, the one I think I was looking for, is who do you see yourself as? Like, how do you define yourself? You see yourself. Because for me, normally, I see myself as a very lost person, trying to figure things in the world and finding excitement as I go. But sometimes I wonder, for a lot of people, how do you see yourself? Because sometimes, especially when it comes to a project like this, you're not grown. The realization for me that I'm really not grown. Like, I'm still a baby. I'm still looking at myself as a baby. So how do you define yourself without the functions of a mother, your career, your work, such things? How do you see yourself?
Good point. I think I can describe myself as a very, let's say, emotional person. I feel I'm very connected to people, to the environment. I care deeply about people and their well-being, such that just like I can connect. If I walk around sad people, I instantly get sad. Seeing people happy, seeing people laugh, strangers just makes me very happy. So I think I can say I'm very connected to people. I care also about the environment. Like I want it to be cherished, to be taken care of. I love the skies, I love the stars. So I think that's me. But the part of feeling lost, I think that's a constant feeling, especially if you're the kind of person who had to, like, forge a path for yourself. So there's that feeling where you feel like every time, do you really know what you're doing? Do you really know where you're headed? You're here right now, but you're like, I still feel like there's a lot I want to achieve. There's a lot. So there's that constant feeling of feeling like you're not there yet. You still feel like there's a lot to learn, and you want to learn all of it, and you feel like you're running out of time. So there's that constant feeling.
There's a lot to be done. There's not enough time.
There's not enough time. Yeah.
All right. I think that is good. That is good. That is what I'm looking for. Because even when I'm around my bosses, sometimes I look at them with their achievements, but I wonder how they see themselves. Because sometimes unapataga mtu ni ameachieve a lot, but still yeye ni mtoto wa mamake, like ajioni as that person. So I'm always curious about that. The other question was, we share similarities with our childhood, but define how your childhood was, especially vile imekuwa affect to be who you are today.
childhood was interesting. You know, I think about it now, and I sort of miss it. It was a childhood with very little in terms of material, the informal setup kind of place where we grew up. But I think it had its good parts. The difficult parts zilikuwa zile za maybe food here and there, not today, not tomorrow, clothing, nanini. But now there's this other huge part where we were a community, closely knit community. We used to share. Like I remember a lot of playing, a lot of feeling connected with the neighbors. We were like a big extended family.
Yeah.
And I miss that bit. I miss the fact that material stuff was not very important.
It wasn't relevant.
It wasn't the most important bit. We could share anything. And I think how it shaped my life, I can say, is in terms of sharing. I think the kind of person who I love having people around, and I believe there's nothing that is too little to share. Ata kama ni nini. Like, because I grew up with that scarcity, and yet we had to share it, we had to split it. Kama ni hiyo lunch mebaki kidogo, kama ni watu wawili wako kwa nyumba, all of you will have to eat that food. So I think that is, it really shaped me in that way, because I don't think right now there's a stand. Mtu akiumia, and there's something I can do about it.
And you're not doing it.
Yeah, so that thing of also caring about people's welfare, I think that was shaped by my childhood. It was interesting.
Yeah.
No, I think nowadays I think about it with some fondness. It was fun.
Yeah.
That part.
There was the EO culture.
Yeah.
Ilitusaidia sana, especially the playing, of course.
Yeah.
We were growing at different times and different areas also, because sisi tulikuwa kule Huruma. So hiyo kucheza mostly it used to cover a lot of, right now you can see a lot of things were wrong back then, but you're just enjoying each other, being in that sort of community used to cover a lot of things, to the point where you don't actually realize this is bad, like you're in poverty. Like in poverty.
I think nowadays I've been thinking about it, and I think kids don't notice that that they're suffering. I think very little is enough for them, as long as they're healthy, they are playing. They don't even realize how hard things are until now, when you're grown and you look back, like, wow, things were really tough back then. Things were really, but at that point, it was so whole. It didn't hit you. You didn't think about it that way. It was not important. As long as you've eaten, as long as you're playing, as long as you have a house to go back to, I think that was enough.
That was more than enough.
And I think right now I wish we could have that mentality of just being contented, because I think that was it. We were contented with very little, and with that comes peace. Now, now you want more and more and more, so it denies you, the chance to be happy.
Yeah, I understand. Now, how was your high school? I know you've mentioned a few things about your high school, but how was it really? Who were you in high school? I know for me, maybe different. Nilikuwa a lot different than I am now, but I was still the same person. By that I mean, a lot of people had a perception of who they thought I was because I was a loud person. But in real essence, I not changed that much, to the point where they think now I'm better than I was in high school. But I've been the same person. Is it the same experience for you? Because sometimes you meet with people who you went to high school with, and the person they're describing is not who you thought you were. So how was high school for you?
High school was also interesting for me, because I went to a mixed boarding. And I keep saying in our high school, the ratio of girls to boys, like, girls were 25%, boys 75%.
I didn't know.
Yeah. And no favorism. No, we were not treated differently just because we are girls. So it meant we were fighting for the same resources equally, these guys. From the grades to library, everything we had to share equally. And I think it brought out a part of us that is, like, you see, the way nowadays they keep saying nobody's coming to help you.
Yeah,
so that was it.
Save, yeah.
Nobody's coming to save you, exactly. So you had to fight for what you want. If you're going to get your meals, you have to get to the dining hall early enough, or you find boys have queued on your side. You have to wait.
Yeah.
So if it's class grades, nobody's going to mark or grade you, differently just because you're a girl. So I think it was interesting because we had to fight for our, what we want. It was all very challenging because now, again, boys and girls, we have to work slightly harder than them to achieve what they're achieving with ease. But in terms of as a person, I think there were also very tough times in high school. But surprisingly, I don't remember being very sad in high school. Actually, I was telling somebody recently that I think high school also, I was escaping. Like, it was a safe space for me because now you're not worried about something. You're assured of, some things that back at home you were worried about. High school was a safe space in terms of food will be there, definitely, I think it shielded us from a lot. Maybe at home, even in as much as it was fun, there was also that ugly part which you start seeing when you grow. When you're growing, you become a teenager, you start now realizing that things are tough.
Yeah, things are bad.
Yeah. So high school was fun. I don't know. I would like. I met my classmate recently. We've not met in like over 10 years, and I think I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
I was loud. Yeah, but yeah, I think I haven't changed much. Yeah, in terms of personality. Yeah. So, in terms of shaping me, I think it made me a strong person. And I think by the time I was leaving high school, I knew that in life you have to really fight for what you want.
Yeah.
Things are not just handed to you. I like that about the school. I didn't have a nasty time in high school, by the way. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Just a follow-up. Do you feel like it laid the foundation of exposure when it comes to now the culture of Nairobi? Because the culture that we had in Taragua is very different from what we have here. Do you think high school really influenced in some way?
A lot. Hey, I remember when see the primary school we went to, the village we were coming from.
Yeah.
Nobody taught us how to pronounce words. So I remember going to high school and it hit me that way words are not pronounced. I've been pronouncing them. And I was very confident. Even by the time I was going to high school, I was super confident because I was active in church, in community activities. I was super confident. So when I went to high school, I'm here with this confidence, with my serious shrubbing. I didn't know.
We didn't know
better. Yeah. So it hit me within the first week or two. I knew something was wrong. And I think that's the longest I've ever gone quiet because now I had to learn. Self-taught, because I won't tell anybody that I'm struggling with this. Yeah. So I would just kept quiet, listening and practicing how they are pronouncing words. And before now the confidence came back. It took some time because now I was not sure. I'm not sure if I was second guessing myself. Is it pronounced this way, that way? So by the time now, by the first term is over, the second now I started, finding myself. And yes, to answer your question, it really did because now you see we were mixed with guys from all over. Guys were more exposed. I used to also learn how to dance from them. Like I could observe and then practice, on my own. So I think it did. A lot. It played a big part too, such that even after high school and I went back to the village, I was more exposed and I think I knew what I wanted. Yeah, so it did play a big part. Yeah, and thankfully you chanuad a lot of people when you came back. I hope so. Your brother keeps saying ulimfunza English. My brother quite shrub, by the way. He has never. Yeah. Ulimfunza English. Yeah. Now tumeingia life ya Nairobi. How did you come to Nairobi? And I know you came through the career thing. Would you define how the career came about and how you came to Nairobi and how your experience now was
coming to Nairobi, like coming from Daragwa to Nairobi. The reason I'm so curious about that, for me, going from Nakuru to Daragwa was a very challenging experience that I didn't realize was as challenging until I grew up. So, is it the same? Because me kukuja Nairobi, it wasn't equal that huge of a difference because it's similar cultures. But someone from Daragwa coming now to Nairobi, and you're following a career, so it's not like you're coming just for social. How was it? First, starting with your career, because hiyo ni kitu nakuwa na interest nayo sana when it comes to your career, especially because you fought for that. Yeah, I think you fought for what you want. Hata kama at some point it was subconsciously, but you fought for what you want.
My career.
Yes.
Was it a career? I don't know how it started.
Now it is a career.
It's a career now, but then I don't think it was. It was more of just, a means
no opportunity.
One end.
Yeah.
Because I started immediately after high school. But again, it really shaped, by the way, my direction and, how everything has panned out.
Yeah.
So I started as after high school, we were recruited to do some data collection. Data collection doesn't need a lot of skills. We just trained how to ask questions and how to key in the data.
Yeah.
And it was not something difficult. But then now, I think the interesting part is the fact that the job was in the village. And working in the villages, it has its downsides because you can get comfortable really fast with your 20,000. It's a lot over there, and you can get comfortable. And I think for some years I did. I felt like, okay, I think I'm okay here. But after, and then I kept postponing going back to school. I thought like maybe I'll save this much money
and then you'll be able
accumulate to it and go. I didn't know it was not possible. I didn't know it was very hard to actually do that, where you just save, and you say, I'm done working, I'm going to school. Yeah, it was quite challenging. And then now when I worked in Daragwa for a couple of years, and after some time now we started having projects out of Daragwa, and that's how now I came to Nairobi. I didn't come straight from home to Nairobi. Before I came to Nairobi, I had now stayed around other towns, and I think by the time I was coming here, I was not very straight from the village, because I remember coming here, I came straight from Meru. I had worked in Nyeri, Nakuru, I'd gone to Kisumu, I'd worked in various towns, so I was a little bit more exposed by the time I came to Nairobi. But the question was?
The transition for you within your career first. Let's also transition, and now you came to now settle in Nairobi. How it was?
There were short contracts, and it was the same thing basically. It was the data collection, data entry, and then there are short contracts. These data collection are, they're different for different projects, and sometimes some projects are very strict to a certain region. So now that's what made me move around from Nairobi, and from Daragwa to other counties.
First we went to Meru, that's where you stayed for the longest time. That I knew.
But before Meru, I think I had gone to Nyeri for a while back. While in Nyeri, I think I had covered a lot of central province counties. I'd gone to Kisumu, I'd gone to Nakuru, Narok. I'd worked in several before I went to Meru. But now Meru was a long-term project after I had my baby, remember? And it was tough. So from Meru now, it was the same thing, different projects. And then I felt like at that point my career, I was not growing. Despite the years of experience, I was not really growing until I came to Nairobi. Because what was hindering me from growing was education. Because you see, at that point I hadn't advanced it, and I needed to. It was a requirement. I understood it, like I needed to do that, but now the how was quite challenging. So now I came to Nairobi, other short project, but not the beauty of coming to Nairobi. I got to work now with other organizations. Same thing, but now I could juggle between organizations. If I don't have a project in this organization, I'll get it. So I started getting connections. Yeah, and that's the beauty. Network, that's the word I'm looking for. That's the beauty of working in Nairobi. Connections. And now it means at least you're covered for majority of the months. You see, when you're working with an organization, when the project is over, it means you're back at home until they get another project. But now when you are connected in different organizations, now at least when this runs out, you have another one to go to. Yeah, so while just juggling around the organizations, okay, the minute I got to Nairobi, I came to Nairobi in February, and by April I had joined school, and I put into it because I knew I had to. So I joined school, and I know there's a question about that, so I don't want to get there. So after I joined school, now at least I had my papers, and now that helped me in even getting out of that data collection now into more of the project implementation kind of organizations.
So I think that pretty much covers that transition, and I hope in a build up, it's building up to something. Now the other one was the things we observed growing up, especially in Nairobi, but I think tumeingia ndani kwa hizo, growing up in Ndaragwa, and the difference that we are coming to see now, especially in your situation where you're able to see it through Dylan's eyes compared to your time yetu. Because my biggest fear becoming a parent is raising a kid in Nairobi, like in town, not in places like Kabete. This inaka like ikona some culture, some different culture from Nairobi, but being exposed to the city culture, city culture, inanifanyaga nikuwe na uoga ku raise mtoto huko, because the culture that is, the things that are allowed within that culture, they were not allowed in Daragwa. Vitu kama hizo, being respectful, like things in those lines, they are not valued. They're not valued in Nairobi. So what are your thoughts on such your culture difference?
Of course there's a difference, and it's because like people in Nairobi or in the cities are from different regions, and in different regions, culture is different. But I think it narrows down to the family, like inside your house. What are you teaching your child? Okay, of course you can protect them from so much. They go to school, they are exposed, don't they even go to church, or even when they're playing outside of your house. These other kids are raised differently. But I think it narrows down to your house. What are the rules? What rules have you set? So personally, I've been very, very intentional in being very strict. Like, I expect this of you. I expect this of you, expect this of you. And, I see people online, or other people saying that, when I was growing up, my mom kept telling me this and this and this. And now, so I took that seriously. And then I keep saying these things. You need to respect people. You need to be kind to people. You need to respect the environment. I keep saying this over and over again. Because I know right now, it might look like he doesn't hear, but they're being, he'll remember them.
You're installing the software.
The software, core memories. So I have been very intentional about that. And also, like you can see, our family, we are closely knit. We have a closely knit nuclear family. And I think also that plays a role, because I think they say everything now narrows down to the household.
The core.
What are you teaching your child in the house? So it's not even about being urban. Some people are raised in the, they're also naughty or disrespectful kids in the rural. They're also very obedient kids in the, so it's not about that. That shouldn't worry you, because you can shield them from the world. You cannot. When you travel, kama ni matatu ama wameenda shule, wamepata na watoto wote, you can't control what they hear, but you can control because they'll bring it in the house. Now from there you can be able to correct it. So of course there's a difference about growing back at home. It was obvious. Ukiona mtu mkubwa unaamka kwa kiti, sometimes I'm shocked when I see people like mtu ameingia tu kwa gari na mtoto umeketi. I can't believe it. Some things were obvious like that.
Even the way you're supposed to say hi to a parent. See sasa mambo.
Exactly. So there's that. But I think again it comes down to and then we say parenting doesn't have a manual. You can only do so much as a parent, but that shouldn't scare you much. No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Because you see, even when you say this is a rural, a sort of still, no, because these guys, they go to school with people from like, the side of, so they're still being exposed. Kabisa. You know, there's social media. They know everything, especially that. Yeah. So my personal
comparison between the two, like which one is hakuna
zote ziko na pros na cons. Hawezi sema ati moja is, because again you said there's the good side of growing up in town. The exposure. The exposure. You know, Juzi we had taken them for skating, and then we were looking at them. I don't know, we were having this discussion with another parent and saying, just look at how confident. Like my niece, she's 4 years old, and the confidence she has. Ukienda ushago, mtoto wa nini utaana hiyo confidence, because hayuko exposed to that. So there's that, and you know, confidence plays a major role in a child. You know, vile ata turn out. So kuna hiyo, there's the beautiful side of growing up in town. So kuna yenye iko better than the other. No.
I see. I understand. Vile nilikuwa napanga kupotea Nairobi. Very soon, God willing. Anyway, now there is also something else that you've been advocating sana. Na hiyo ni story ya mental health and you being in that environment. And the curiosity and the reason hata nimeiweka in the middle of it ni how did you come about the issue of mental health? Because someone like me, I didn't care about mental health until, I don't think I've told you, I got very depressed in Chuka. Like,
bits and pieces.
I'm yet to get there where I'll be comfortable. But until I got to that point where nilijua now my mental health is in chaos, I didn't care, because at the end of the day I was like, kama ni shida, we'll figure it out, because that is now the culture that we grew up in. Kama you'll figure it out, you keep moving. How did you come about your story of mental health and to care about it? Given also in Daragwa, no one is talking about mental health. So I'm curious about how you came about.
It's an interesting story because it involves your brother.
So nice.
So when after high school, our then area MP had this program. It was sponsored by World Vision. I think the wife works for World Vision. And then they selected a few of us to come for a training in Nairobi. My friend, the story behind that visit. Naonanga yo hoteli hapa naisha. God is good. So your brother and I were selected, and then some other guys from Leshaw, within the constituency. We were around, I think, 6 or 10 of us. So we came for a 2-week training in Nairobi on group therapy.
Nice.
So now that was my first exposure to mental health and all these and how to and I think I see where that's
because I knew about you and the visit and everything, but
you didn't know what you were taught.
The connection to mental health.
So it was about mental health. We were being trained on how to be facilitators during maybe group therapies and such like things. But unfortunately, it didn't kick off. So after the training, we went back home. Went back to the house. But again, najua hiyo kitu iko kwa akili yako, you know, haitatoka. So and then during my time hapo in Daragwa, I started having these issues with guys. I think now my brain knew this thing about mental health and symptoms and what you should look out for. So I remember there's a time we were having issues with my colleagues, and I found like I was falling out with everybody. That may be the problem. In Nyahururu, the Catholic Church, they have facility where they provide counseling for free.
I didn't know.
So I used to go almost every Saturday.
Nice.
I went for therapy for a couple of months.
I didn't know.
So I think that also it really helped me. And I think after that I just developed this passion and you know, just awareness about mental health, and I'm a huge advocate today. So that's why it came from.
I didn't know. Didn't know. I've always been curious.
You wondered like how did I come about it?
Yes, because for me, honestly, I'm going to expect a story maybe similar to mine, because I think I've mentioned you kutoka high school where you think you know everything, then you're thrown into campus where you realize you don't know anything. For me, hiyo ilini yapo ndio ilini exposed to Sasa now, me being in a mental crisis. It was bad. One day I'll sit you down.
Yes,
but it was, hey, it was
crazy. Look at you now.
Look at me now.
Yeah.
But after 5 years.
It doesn't matter. Hakuna time nini. In a time stamp.
Imagine, but nilijipaga, like in the beginning of it, nilijipatia exactly 5 years when I realized something was wrong. I was like, a lot of things like dating, nilizitoa. I gave myself 5 years. If I'm not able to figure myself out within those 5 years, no, it wasn't 5 years, it was 2. Then it turned into 5. All right, I think that is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. Now the other one, the question, I think ingefolili ingine, but mental health. What is in a career for you? For me, I thought it was gratification when things of that sort, which is important, but kuna the need for something else. Like unaweza kuwa in the best, like right now I'm in sales, and I'm finding it's a career I might be good. Good at, and
you're doing great.
Thank you. But also kuna channels like this when it comes to creative na nini. So nashindwa kama my career is in the arts, ama in sales, ama sales is the career and arts is just a passion or something. I don't know. So hapo ndo nilikuwa curious about, for you, what is in a career?
Hey, that's a difficult one. But I think your passion can be your career, ama your career can be your passion, and you can also have them separately. Where you are, like, most of these professionals, like, he's a doctor, ni doctor, but ni chef. So, kukua chef is a passion, which they can do for free. Kukua doctor is a career, you know. So for me, I think, what is in a career? Hey, that's a difficult, I don't know how to approach this. But I can talk about my current career. I love it. It's on maternal health. And it's not something I had a background in. Actually, I work with medics. I'm not a medic. But I've grown to love it and care about it so much that if I could, I would go back to school and do nursing. Only that, nursing is a full-time course, and you see now, now there's that challenge, because you have to go to school full-time. Medicine still need to pay fees. But I have grown to love what I do. I think there's beauty when you work with people who are passionate about what they do. There's money, of course. We work for money, primary, you know, we need to provide for our, you know, to feed for ourselves. That's of course, the most important part. And then the second now, what you're doing, does it give you gratification, as you said? We work with hospitals, we work with public hospitals and some private, and our goal is to ensure that pregnant mothers are, you know, carrying the pregnancy safely, they're giving birth safely, you know. And so when we hear that a single mom has died, I can tell you, my colleagues cry, especially the ones supporting that facility. Mtu anakupigia akilia. That is kumekuwa na maternal mortality, and you know, like, because they feel they have poured a lot of themselves in that facility. They've done a lot of training, a lot of coaching, and then a mother dies. So there's that, where this is a career, yes, but you've put so much of yourself in it. And it's interesting because now, like, coming from the research world where I was working, now into this, right now I just want to venture into, like, health programs. Even when I quit my current place, I would, I think, be on the lookout of another health related, especially reproductive health related program. So I don't know if I'm answering your question.
You are, because itashikana na another question that is coming of itashikana too.
So I think in a career, of course, there's the gratification. You need to feel like when you go back at home, you feel like you've done something worthwhile. Sales, you get the gratification. You've closed sales, you know. Somebody else, whatever you're doing, at least you go back home happy. Of course, there's what you're getting, the perks. I mean, you wouldn't be happy if you're not getting paid, unless you're in that actualization. Unajua umefika huko, now you just want to, you know, you're doing it for giving back to the community. Bado hatujafika hapo. But at the moment, there's that, you get satisfaction from what you're doing, you get good remuneration, and now like where you're working,
the environment helps.
It's important. I think it's more important than the salary you're getting. Because you see people quit very high-end places because of like our toxic working environment. So hata hiyo ikikuwa tu niko sawa, not perfect, but iko tu bearable, you're happy. I think
that you're good.
Na career yenye nakupe nini ya kugrow pia. You know, you don't want yenye uko too stagnated 5 years, 10 years, same position. Of course yenye nakupe more challenges, more exposure.
Yeah. Apo, I get it. Now the question that we keep saying that is coming, imefika. Your work then college, or college then work. I think ingekuja before career.
I know.
Yeah, but
it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, tuna wing tu vile zinakam.
Yes. Now, cause I know I didn't have the opportunity to choose, but I feel like a lot of people should have that opportunity. Ya could choose either to wakimaliza high school to be exposed to a lot of things, a lot of fields, then finally now choose one that they can call a career and go with. Because like now vile umesema sasa najua nataka kufanya nursing tena. Like the last one was project management. Yes, nataka kuita programmer.
Okay.
Don't worry.
It's okay. Programmer.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yes. Now now project management, you did it I think years after high school.
Yeah.
And it, for me, I feel like it fell at the right time.
It did.
Yeah, so sometimes I feel like a lot of young people are wasted. For me, are wasted when they go from high school to campus to do a course that they don't have any background in.
Or even interest.
Yeah. Then ukitoka unapata, you don't even, it's not something that is bringing you any satisfaction at the end of the day. So for you, work, then college, or college, then work?
Again, I think it's similar to what we said. Is it Ushago life or urban, which is better? Also, this question doesn't have a yes or no, like one is better than the other. I think it depends. Yangu, it could happen because I wanted it this way. It's circumstances.
I know.
If it were up to me, personally, napenda kusoma na nini, I could have chosen to go through the school, you know, like nimalize high school, niingie kampo, nifanye degree, nifanye masters. I was telling guys, if things had fallen into place, ningekuwa Dr. Sarah. I would have done my PhD by now. But things didn't work out that way. And now mine started the other way, work and then college. There are advantages and disadvantages to each. So advantages of going through school kwanza is that age is on your side. And when age is on your side, you're more flexible. Hata ku understand yako in school is easier, is better. You can afford to make mistakes. Somebody else is paying for your fees. You have a lot of freedom. And sometimes I feel like, you know, going through that, you get a lot of connections because mmepitia na age mates wako wote high school campus, so you have this solid connection. I feel like I lost some connections really. I didn't transition straight to campus after high school because I see how closely guys we went to high school with that went to university campus. They're quite close because they spent quite a number of years together.
They're growing together.
They grew up together. So there's that. There's the beauty of you have age on your side. Somebody else is catering for the bills. You can afford to make mistakes. You make solid connections. There's that. And you can also go to very high level while still young. So now, the disadvantage is what you're saying. Some just, you know, the way our education system is. Unaitiwa course yenye you don't have any interest in or arts. So, and then you know your parent is umeitiwa campus.
Hiyo ndio unaenda, hiyo ndio cheap.
It's cheap. So unaenda, and then after you're done, we've seen a lot of guys go back. Wanaanza first year. You know?
Zero.
Wanaanza zero. After now they established, they have their own money. Anarudi shule sana nafanya course yeye alitaka. So there's that where ukiitwa through you might end up doing something you're not passionate about and it might turn out to be a wasted 4 years. So now, the other side of college and school. Mostly when tunafanya hivyo not because we wanted it. It's not by choice. It's circumstantial. But I've come to appreciate it. because now by the time you're going back to school, you know exactly what you want. Uko kwa career, uko kwa job, and then you've realized that you actually like this job. You actually would like to advance your career on this specific, you know. And now, so you're going back to school informed. By the time I was going back to do project management, nilikuwa nafanya the research work. And it was, ilikuwa ina suit vizuri. You know, like I'm managing projects. So, ilikuwa ina apply vizuri. And hata kama ni grow up ninge grow poa. So there's that. Also there's more, you know, you're mature, you're paying your own fees. You can't afford to make it. You can't play around. You're more committed in your studies. And then there's that in nimesema kama saizi when I went back again to school, the course that I'm doing is very strategic to my career. It's very strategic for my career growth because I know what now I want. I know that even by the time I'm living here, this is what I want to pursue. This is the next step. This is the, So there's that. You're doing something you're passionate. Hata kuelewa ni rahisi. Also something else I notice, like when I'm in school, most of the questions I'm like, I'm doing this currently. So I can just apply. Like I was telling my classmates juicy, like, you know, I didn't have an answer to this question, but it's something I can apply. Zote zenye umeuliza, I do them at work. So I'm able, it's easier to understand. Then I try to put myself kwa viatu za student when nimetoka to school, I'm like, wow, this must be sounding like Greek to you.
Hadi ile wanaulizaga, where will I ever apply this?
You know,
because you don't understand.
Sasa sisi tusha apply. So ukisoma you're like, so this is it. There's that. Now the disadvantage is the level of responsibility, because now you're paying your fees. Fee is not cheap.
It's not
cheap. And you see now you have to go to like a private university ama like umeenda kama ilikuwa inaitwa nini yenye ilifungwa, ilikuwa zile wenyewe tulikuwa na 2 years. No, we used to go wanaenda 2 years para. Zilitolewa. I think zilitolewa kwa time ya Matiang'i ama Magoha one of the times. So unaenda, they're very expensive. So there's that, the monetary parts of it. It's also not cheap to raise that money, and then it means you have to cut off some of the things. It's a sacrifice. So there's that part. Also now, you're a parent, you're employed, you're working, so you're in school, all these responsibilities. So sometimes your understanding peer says it's not as sharp. You have to, you know, una struggle hata to grasp some things because mind yako already iko na a lot of occupied. So kuna hiyo disadvantage. But I think I can't say one is better than the other. Again, hizo ni zile vitu, because it turns out and works differently.
Everything will work out.
People.
I think you're to the same, everything will work out for itself.
I think things do.
Every path will work out for itself. Because but like I said, it's only that I didn't have that option and I didn't know back then. Sasa hiyo unasema the disadvantage ya kwenda kwa campus kwanza. You don't know. You don't know.
And so, maybe something else about work then college. It's a very difficult decision to make. You look at the money you're going to spend and you're like, sinyanze tu biashara, you know. It's not an easy decision to make. So watu shinda wakipostpone, na join shule next year. Next year inafika, and then you want to do something else with the money. So there's that. And then the time inaenda. So it's also not very ideal. Easy. It's not.
I get it. I get it. Now, for me, when it comes to that, I wish tungekuwa in a country where it could allow people to do that in terms of education. Like you can still go back years later
with your
grade, the one that you got, and you still be allowed to get financing, ease of vitu zote. Your environment for me,
that would be perfect.
That would be perfect. If you were better, because let's say for example, hata saizi in sales stand unaanza kupata bearing kidogo. I'm thinking it's something I would like to pursue. But hiyo ukiangalia from the mind of a 17-year-old making that decision, and vile tunasema hakuna do, so chances are you will never get the opportunity to go for majority. Hauna hiyo opportunity
to go back to school.
True. Then hata nikipush for work, then college in Kenya without papers, getting the work it's also another problem. So I wish they wanaweka things like that into place.
Mtu ana explore, una identify your passion is. So ukirudi shule, unaende hiyo course yenye unajua you love it, you're passionate about, so it becomes even easy to commit. Ingine we?
Ingine ni tricky because the environment yetu hai tu allow Now, we are going to the final two. If you had a time machine, what would you like to change, or what time or period would you like to go back to? I'm asking this in terms of, there was a time Rahab aliniuliza if I was given $1 million and the opportunity to go back and not have our mom die, which one I would choose. And I didn't even think twice. I said the $1 million. Yeah, like give me the money, because chances are, after tukienda, if I go back in time, I don't think we'll necessarily maybe kuona that huge of a difference. I understand her choice was to go back because she didn't know her, she didn't meet her in any way. But also I think akotuna ile curiosity to know how it could have been. And at some point I did have that. I think I even told you in the time tukikula Chipo River Road. But I think future focused now. Like the past is the past. Itafanya vile itafanya. But I'm also curious for a lot of people, because hiyo swali ilinifanya nikuwe curious. I didn't think that was the answer I would have gone for. But when she asked, I was like, just give me the money. Then I proceed with my life, nimalizane nayo, rather than going back in time. So what would be the time for you if you had that opportunity?
I think the time I would change is the time I spent afraid of in Daragwa when I was working. The time I spent afraid of going back to school into Nairobi. I remember there was a time somebody had connected me to a job, to just a clerk. And I was so scared of coming to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And I think if I had taken that chance, it could have exposed me earlier. I could have gone back to school earlier. You know, I think a lot could have changed, but I was very scared.
Scared of making that decision.
I think what I would change is that time where I was very, very scared of taking that step, getting out of my comfort zone, and just, because now I just even realized, ningekuwa naenda shule Nyahururu. But why didn't I?
Kuna campus, kuna
Ciku, but I didn't, I didn't.
Ni lack exposure pia.
It's exposure. And then, I think sikuwa na watu wanani challenge. The people I was hanging out with, I think, hawakuwa wanani challenge. We all need somebody who's doing better than us. Tukikuwa si wote tuko the same level, it's a dangerous place to be at. We need people who are doing better than us so that they can challenge us. So nilikuwa in a situation where mimi na all my friends, we are doing better. We are doing the same. So no one is, challenging me.
Hakuna the scout that is going out there and coming back and telling you that I saw something.
Hakuna kuniambia, by the way, imagine lazima urudi. Imagine you have to, we need that person to get us out of that comfort zone. So if I had to change something, it's that time that I was very afraid to make decisions, very afraid to get out of that comfort zone. Yeah.
I didn't expect that one.
What did you expect me to change?
I thought you'd say maybe go back to Ndaragwa and now tangu ukiwa mtoi, like you'd want to relive is on knowing the different mistakes na nini, the different decisions that you'd have made, that you'd want to go back in time, be a kid again and try everything else. I don't know.
No, I think I have. No, if I went back, I would enjoy. I still enjoy my childhood.
You still have fun.
I think I had a good time. Actually, apart from when you remove the aspect of money, I actually think I had a good time.
It was a good childhood.
I had a good time. I was a happy kid. I was a loud kid. I loved games and singing and dancing. In church also, I was very active. Yeah, I think there's that part of high school where I don't know what I could have done different to perform differently in high school, because I know I give it my all.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's something I could have done differently, because again, I tried a second time,
Yeah.
So this period, maybe I was meant to go through this system the way I have. I look at it now and I see it makes sense. So that period, I think that is where I could have made better decisions. Yeah. I remember another thing maybe I could have done still the same time of making better decisions is I remember there was a time I could accumulate some good amount of money and then decide to maybe start a biz for mom. Not thinking about it. By then land was very cheap. I could have bought land then. But I didn't know better. You see, I didn't have somebody to tell me that I can do that. So I think also those are some of the challenges, not in a bad way, but being a firstborn, sometimes you don't have somebody to look up to. You don't have somebody to guide you, to direct you.
So, also being in the rural area, hakuna much of a
ningekuwa hii
challenge.
Nairobi ningekuwa mtu ameniambia hii
Umechanuka.
pesa, but I didn't know. The only thing I knew is ukipata hii pesa unaweka kwa biashara, unaanza biashara ina go down, so hizo tu, that's what I could, because I think if that time inge-move as it should, maybe just move the way it's supposed to, but you're coming to move differently. I think inge fast track vitu. Yeah.
I get it. The last question ilikuwa about principles. What principles you live by, and things that you'd want to see in the world more. For me, in terms of acceptance and also the value of life. Vile to minimize the value of life, it's scary.
I know.
I think everyone is worth a shot in terms of living, and just let someone live. Just let them. Ata kama you don't agree. Personally, I don't agree with
some things.
A lot of things. A lot of things about a lot of people. But I don't see the need bothering what is happening in the world. So for me, normally nizo principles. What are yours, and zenye unataka kuona zikiwa implemented in the world?
One is kindness. Like I can't compromise on kindness. I don't know, because I believe you should be kind to people. I believe when I see people, I told you as I started that I value, I love human beings. Like naonanga tu watu hivi nasikia hati yangu like oh my god, like I love people. I love the diversity. When I see people are different. I enjoy people watching. Like I'll just sit somewhere, look at people, and I can promise you, Nyambo, I'll see something beautiful in everybody that I see. One thing, maybe anatembea poa. No, like I will see something positive in everyone. And by so doing, I don't think I can get from my way to do harm to that person. So kindness is very important to me. So there you see, live and let live. There are things we don't agree with, but you're like,
it's not my business.
It's not bothering me. If it's not bothering me, then why? See, let live and let live. Let people be. They're not hurting anyone. Let them be. Let them do all the crazy things that they can do. The other thing, apart from I so agree about the way we don't value life, on top of that is environment. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when I see somebody just, litter. Like, honestly, unajua karatasi ita decompose. Umetupia, and then you see people cutting trees and all this, and without a care in the world, it breaks my heart. So if there's some things I would live with and want to say in my child about kindness, like I drum it in him, you have to be kind. I tell him you have to be kind to God, to human beings, to animals, to the environment. You have to be kind. You have to respect people. Respect. If you can't go, unajua vile tu mtu anaona tu dogi hapa anachukua mawe anaigonga. The same way they'll hurt another person. So you have to care for human beings. Humanity, care for animals, care for the environment. Live and let live. There's I read something. I saw it on IG, and I remember showing Dylan. There was this teacher demonstrating in class, and then he told the kids, if you see somebody with something that they can't fix in 5 minutes, don't tell them about it. Like, you don't need to tell them about it. I think I don't remember the exact word, but I'll explain. For example, somebody is black. So why are you telling them they're black? They can't fix it in 5 minutes. Somebody is short. Somebody has red hair, or they're bald. But if maybe their collar is inside out, they can fix that. If their dress is inside out or they've stained their dress, they can fix that. But they can fix their race, they can fix their color, they can, they can fix a disability. Like, so if somebody has something they can't fix within 5 minutes, you have no business telling them about it. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, just accommodate, accept people the way they are. Yes.
I think hiyo ni ile if you can't help, just leave it.
if you can't help, don't do harm.
Yeah, don't do harm.
Yeah.
Like I also to that extent.
Yeah.
Now that's tumefika the end of our interview. So ni interview ama discussion ama emotion. Yeah, but on top of everything, this is the Young podcast. You're not grown. The reason it came about for me ni realizing that I thought when you become an adult, you become someone different. Like you, inaitwa ni self-actualization. Like you realize, I'm an adult. But sasa being the 74 years I am, I'm realizing I'm not. I'm someone's baby. I'm someone's child. There are a lot of things in life that zinafanya tu realize you're really not grown. Like the instances where, for me, I don't have that person, but I do have people around that I can reach out to. When it comes to even the slightest decision unapata, you need adult intervention because you're not the adult in that situation. So what instances, if you've ever had, that made you realize that you're not an adult, like you're not grown, you still need, like you're not grown, unahitaji bado adult supervision to some extent. By that maybe I mean an instance like my boss, the male boss, kuna time alikuwa ananiambia even him, and he's older than us na nini, mimi nikimwangalia naona it's someone who has figured everything out. But when he's telling me that he had to, like even him at work, inabidi ende ulize boss wake swali, I'm like, but you're an adult, like you're grown. But maybe instances like that that made you realize that you're not grown.
I think personally is in terms of financial management. I've really had to struggle with that, how to manage my finances. And I have a gang of girls. We know we're like, hebu kuja na hiyo notebook tufanye your budget. Hiyo pesa yako inaenda wapi? What are you doing? You know, you should do this and this and this. So right now, I think it has taken a lot of learning from, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm constantly consulting with my girls. And they understand. So I don't think we ever get to that point where we are grown that like we are good, we don't have to consult. Everybody consults. Every single person consults. And another principle is that everybody has something to teach. When you tumepatana na hivi, imagine they know something that you don't. And they are good at something that you're not. So again, you have to respect people for that and what they bring to the table. So in terms of consulting na nini, mi kuna hiyo ya finances, I've made some terrible decisions, but I have people
that are helping.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And again, now being vulnerable, you have to have people you're vulnerable to. Wenye wanajua like kuna waende hivi like raw, nimefanya hivi, they call you out, and then they tell you. And you see, it's the same. So I'll come to you with my finances problem. You're coming to me with your mental health problem. I'm coming, you know, like
moral dilemmas.
So there's that. I think that is one area that I always find that I'm consulting. Yeah.
You realize you're not grown.
I am not even. Wow, I'm still crawling, my friend. Crawling, pale bado. And I need to be running in, you know. So yeah, there.
Sawa. Thank you. Our saying for this podcast is, if you think you know everything, you know nothing.
Yeah.
And if you think you don't know everything, at least you know something.
Yeah.
So with that, we've come to the end of our first episode. Thank you sana for allowing me to ambush you, because I know hata sikuwa nimekuambia, but niliwapangia tu nyinyi wote. I'm hoping this project is going to be successful. And by success I just mean itakuwa inanipatia some gratification above everything else. And as it grows, we hope to host you again. By we, I mean me and my phones and my microphone. To host you again. I'm sure tutakuja tena na maswali zingine mingi na nini. So thank you for giving us almost 1 hour of your time.
Amazing.
Thank you sana.
I'm proud of you for starting this, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you.